manual roll-up shutter, 77 millimeter spring, and lock. We're gonna show you how to install it.
So first, take your left leg and place it. Ensure that you have the up in the correct direction and the left to right in the correct direction. Place your clamp firmly against your frame. Now, take the coiling box, place it into the groove, and make sure it sits firmly in.
It has to be all the way down on both sides.
Using a number 3 square bit, secure the top of the track into the frame.
At this point, you want to make sure you space it out properly. And I would typically wouldn't screw it all the way, because at this point, you should measure the top and the bottom before you screw in all the other screws. So basically, you want to take the measurement here. We have exactly 6 feet. We measure 6 feet. This has to get moved inwards. So when we got 6 feet, we can install the rest of the screws.
To open the top of the coiling box, use a 5/16 magnetic bit.
Some shutters come with the curtain on the shaft. Others will come without the curtain. This first video is to show you shutter came in the box and the curtain is separate. Box is separate. We're going to show you how to guide the curtain into the guide channels.
Before proceeding to put in the curtain, you need to secure the back of the coiling box to the frame using an 1 to 1.5 inch deck screw every foot, so that the back of the box does not move after the installation.
You also want to secure the actual locks itself. So there's holes here at the top. You want to put 2 screws, one at the top, one at the bottom, with the same screws that we provide for the guide channels. You use these screws to secure the box. That's the first thing, you secure the box. The second is you go along the bottom and secure the back of the box. The problem is sometimes is that if the frame is straight and the box is protruding inwards, the lock is going to catch on the back cover. So you have to make sure it's secured firmly to the wall, and the wall needs to be perfectly straight. Before you install your curtain, you should take out all the hangers out of the plastic bags and have them on your ladder ready to install. You also want to put something underneath in the middle of the shutter so the curtain rests on it and is high enough for you to secure the hangers. Now the curtain can only go in one way. You use the top slot and you have to feed it over top. And when you feed it over top, it goes in nice and smooth. If you're trying to force it the other way, the shutters don't bend as good the other way, so there's only one way to install it. You want to also put some cardboard here. If you're doing it the first time, you don't want to scratch your curtains. And basically you just guide it from the top.
You want to make sure that your curtain gets in behind the rollers and into the track.
Then just basically slowly feed the curtain in, and once you're in halfway, put on your clamps that will attach to the shaft. So you have 2 stoppers and a handle. Lazar has the handle. He's going to start with the handle. So the stopper has a plastic stopper in it. You just have to push this in just like that, and then it's going to get attached to the top. So you have bolts and nuts. You feed the nut to the back side, attach the stopper. And it's very important not to over tighten the stoppers, you just gotta tighten it enough because you're gonna dent the other side of the shutter. So you just gotta go firm enough so that it's set and doesn't damage the back side of the shutter. After the stoppers are in, or even before, like the bottom plastic should be removed before the stoppers are installed. This way it's easier to come off. And after the curtain is set, you can remove the plastic from the legs, the guide rails. I also recommend to remove all the plastics before you throw the box up. This way you're not pulling it and stretching it. So when you have the box on the ground, take all the plastics off and then throw it up and install it. So at this point, you can raise it all the way up and you can test it all the way down now. You don't want to be throwing the shutter. So there goes all the way down. And to lock it, you have to down and then turn the key and it's gonna lock. If you install your guide rails upside down, the lock is not gonna line up with the lock holes. So you might have to swap them around and make sure you have the left and the right installed correct. After you're pretty much finished with the installation, you can install the cover locks. When installing the cover box, there's a channel in here that you have to fit in. I typically start on one side and then I push it up and I fit it in. Sometimes you have to press in the middle for it to line up and then you close it. And this is where you can screw it in. There's already drilled holes. This is aluminum, so it's very easy to strip. So make sure you tighten it just a little bit so it gets tight enough, but do not over tighten it because you are gonna strip the aluminum. Shutter is installed. Make sure to remove all the plastics. If you leave it out in the sun for a period of time of 1 week to 2 weeks, the glue is going to transfer onto the shutter and you will not be able to remove this plastic film. So make sure you remove it as soon as you're done your installation.
And we also provide the little cap holes to cover up the holes for the mounting screws.
Yeah, so after you're done, remove the plastic, put the cap holes in, and the shutter is ready to be used. We're going to show you an installation of the curtain on the shaft, and all you have to do is just put the box in the guide channels. So you got to be very careful because the curtain keeps turning. You have to make sure you grab it in such a way that it doesn't slip out of you, and it's quite heavy. You just want to put the tracks in. I recommend having a third person. Third person pulls this for you, and two people are setting it into the tracks. So one person is preventing it from this to spin because it can slip out on you and everything's gonna fall. So you gotta be very careful. Do this with 3 people. This is very heavy. Once you have put the box up top, you have to make 3 full turns. So you count this from here. This is the bottom seal. So we're counting 1, 2, 3. And this is where you cut your plastics and release the curtain. So you just cut this and be very careful, it's going to slip out on you. So you raise it up a little bit and then you feed it into the track. You just keep feeding it halfway in.
If you notice the shutter is falling and doesn't want to hold its own weight, bring it back up. Take the bottom slot out of the groove and give it one more spin, holding it together. Feed the bottom slot back into the rail.
And now this is properly balanced. You bring it in halfway, it stays. And it doesn't drop hard to the bottom. Key in slowly and see it stays at the bottom. This is a properly balanced door. Bring it halfway up, and it's important, don't let it go all the way up because it's gonna uncoil on you. You have to install the bottom stoppers. 3 screws, 3 bolts. They have the locking washers on the back. You just feed that through, and this will stop at the roller height. You have 3 drilled holes. Just put it in, hold it through the back. Phillips screwdriver. Do not over tighten it because you're gonna bend the aluminum. So you have to make sure that you tighten it just enough so it's tight, but not too tight. We're gonna install the handle on the side where you're gonna be using it most. So in this case, it's gonna be used from the outside. So the handle is installed from the outside. The lock is going to be installed on the inside, and nobody can remove it from the outside. At this point, you can test it out all. So it stays down. And when raising it up, do not throw it up because you're going to bend the stoppers. So you take it halfway, hold it with the handle, and then stop it where it needs to stop. So just let it rest. If you throw it up hard, it is going to bend stoppers. So you just got to be careful with that. Now I'll show you how the key works. So you have 3 keys. It's lockable from any side. So just bring the shutter down, hold it down with these handles, and then just turn the key, and it's going to lock. So that's locked. And there's 3 keys. If it doesn't turn, do not force it. So if you install your guide rails upside down, it will not lock. So it's very important to check where your openings are for the lock to go in. If they're at a different position, this means you've installed them upside down. And unlocking it also, put it down, turn the key, and raise it slowly. Next is installing the cover. You want to put one side in first. Make sure it's all the way in. You can tap it from the top to make sure it fits. And then use a 5/16 magnetic to secure it. Make sure you don't over tighten it. Go very slow. This is aluminum. It's going to strip very easily. And make sure your stoppers are below the cover box so they don't get jammed. Now you're finished with your installation.